welcome to another podcast, another edition of the Saints Martini, with, of course, Irish the Halo, and myself, Warren the Saint. So, sit back for the next few hours and enjoy what can only be described as a carnival of chat, as the two of us embrace cocktails and conversation, discuss our lives and the general issues of the week. Pour your favourite cocktail, wear your smoking jacket, and please wear a fez. Sit back and enjoy the next few hours. Yes, welcome. Oh, I shouldn't sound like that. That sounds like a certain comedian who says that. Sorry. What's his name? British comedian on HBO. He always starts the show. Welcome. The hostess with the mostest.
I don't know. It's the yes.
Yeah, that's what it. Yes. Welcome to. And well, I just said that. Why am I saying it again? Anyway, how are you? How are you this week, Irish? How are you travelling?
Oh, well, I'm doing excellently now, actually, because that was quite lovely.
It's been an interesting week. It's been an interesting week.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting week.
I agree with that. You've been
trapped
trapped in your home still.
Yes. Week 5, I think this is, or something, and I don't know, mid-September until it's over. I don't know. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, here in the USA, in Florida, I should be trapped in my home, but we're not because we have an idiot governor and an idiot president. So, yeah, at least you guys are doing something about it.
Well, the Premier of Victoria, that's like the equivalent of what you would call a governor, made a comment, I think it was on Friday, that he's hoping to keep the coronavirus numbers under 200 per day over the weekend. We'll see if that happens. I don't know. We will see. We will see what happens. Either way, you still need a permit to go to put the fucking. I was about to say to go to the letterbox. No, it's not that bad. You do need a permit to travel. You need a permit if you're going to move more than 5 kilometres away from your house.
Wow.
Otherwise, yes, you will be stopped by the police and please explain. Here's a very nice fine, up to $10,000, sir. Thank you very much. So, yes, not something you really want to do.
Well, they're not going to do that in the U.S. because people will be screaming about their freedoms, and I say that with a D-U-M-B at the end.
Yes, it is amazing. Yeah. Anyway, but there has been some interesting stuff happening during the week. But before we do that, I'm onto my third bottle of. Because it's, what's the line? Champagne conversation.
Wait, we're not in the champagne room, Warren.
Oh, sorry.
That's a completely different entity here.
The champagne. Oh, the champagne room. That's. Oh, yeah, okay. I know what that is. Oh, dearie me. So anyway, everyone knows what I'm drinking. What are you? What is your drink of choice for this podcast for this weekend, Irish?
I am drinking a German Riesling.
Excellent.
And I left the bottle outside, so I don't remember what I have, and I just poured a ginormous glass is all. So, I have a different bottle here of Riesling, but it's not the same stuff, and so I can't remember what I'm actually drinking at the moment. Then I bought some of that really, what you've told me is very shitty Australian wine, Yellowtail Riesling, off the discount table, because why break with tradition at this point? But at least it's not boxed.
It's not.
But that's just a backup wine.
Yes, it's not Chateau Cardboard, so at least, that's
just my backup bottle.
Well, look, German Riesling, I love German Riesling. In my opinion, I'm sorry, France, but German Riesling is better. Although, I have to admit, German Riesling from Alsace is gorgeous. It is really, really good. But German Riesling is better. Do you have a favourite style of German Riesling? Because I won't go into all the German pronunciations because it'll bore everybody, but it's basically you have a sweet, a dry, or a super sweet. And I'm just wondering which style you prefer, or do you just pick whatever bottle looks good?
Well, no, I actually prefer a sweet, and the reason is for that because I'm not made of sugar, which is great because it rains a lot around here, and that would turn out poorly for me.
It would.
But yeah, I actually, yeah, it would. You know what happens to sugar in rain?
Oh, yes.
It's not good.
No.
So I'm happy I'm not made of sugar, and that's why I actually enjoy a sweet Riesling. Extra sweet, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
That just doesn't fit with my personality.
Well, the other one too is if you do like Rieslings, but they're not quite as sweet as, let's say, the German style of Riesling, is a South Australian Riesling from either the Barossa Valley or the Clare Valley in South Australia. Very, very good Riesling, I have to admit.
I have not tried those, so yeah.
I actually think of all white wines that are produced in Australia, Australia actually do Riesling the best. Even though Australians probably drink more Chardonnay than they do Riesling, but Australian Chardonnay, and I'm sorry Australia, it's shit. It's really bad. Australia makes really bad Chardonnay. Really bad.
I don't care for Chardonnay though. We talked about this. Unless it's unoaked.
Yeah, I know.
I do not like wood flavored wine.
Yeah.
I just don't like that.
But if you want an Australian white, my advice always is go to a Riesling and make sure it's from either the Barossa Valley or from the Clare Valley, and you'll be drinking the best of Australian whites then, I think.
I'm going to need you to write these things down for me somewhere. Can we put them on the website? Will you write down the best Australian wines in the areas to get them from and put them on the website?
I wouldn't want to put brand names up, but I'd say styles versus regions. We could do that.
Well, I think that'd be great. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So,
because that's something that way I can go back and look at it, and then if anybody else is interested, they can too. But yeah, I need actual like permanent reference material because I can't remember anything.
Well, we should do all this. We've got the website to do it, so we should do all of that. We definitely should.
Yeah, well,
Well,
I'm sitting here right now actually recording for the first time video of the podcast from across the room because I'm not getting close on me. These new cameras are just awful. I'm just not going to do that. Yeah, so I'm thinking if I like it this time, because I'm taking a chance here and it's late and I've been, cooking all day and stuff. And I'm just hanging out. But if I like it, I'm going to post it on the website in probably the VIP lounge area. So it's just not everywhere out there. But, if people want to see it, they can go in there and see it. Because right now there's no charge to get in there because it's not open. And we're not going to charge for a while once we put some stuff in there and see if you guys are interested in it at all. So maybe just some more like behind the scenes things. That's what I'm thinking.
Excellent.
Not that anybody really cares about me, like watching me sit around drinking wine and chit chatting, but maybe.
You'd be amazed. No, I was about to say you would be amazed what people watch. That sounds so horrible. That's not what I meant. What I meant
I've
was...
seen Fox News. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, dearie me! Did you see Don Jr. on Fox News?
With Laura Ingraham
talking about how it was appalling that Joe Biden's children were living off Joe Biden's success, and I sort of thought, irony hasn't hit you yet, mate, has it? It really hasn't hit you. You're not.
Oh, you didn't see my tweet then?
Oh no, I didn't. Sorry, no.
I just commented that the family projects so much that they should or they should license their name to a chain of soon-to-be bankrupt movie theaters because there's so much production. Right. So yeah, I'm drunk now. So as I told you, I've been drinking since 4:00 and it's late. So.
That's all right. It makes it more fun. fun.
So, if you want to see the verbatim, quote, then, go to my political Twitter if you'd like. It's at Naked Axiom. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Naked Axiom.
Otherwise, don't.
Naked Axiom.
Naked axiom.
Naked axiom.
You know what that means? Yeah, you know what it means? The bare truth. That's what it's supposed to mean. That's what but for years when I first got on Twitter, which was way back in 2009, people kept coming to me going, I like your name. What does it mean? It's like, it doesn't mean I'm going to show you my tits. Just like, I don't know what to say to you. Because
do you know?
You tell them, but it was almost always men that were looking up the word naked on Twitter in the search.
Oh, fuck. Do you know, I used to have because I changed my Twitter account probably as often as I changed my smoke alarm batteries, which is quite a lot. And I'm on about my 7th, I think, Twitter account. Because I get bored and I close it down and then I restart it and it's a joke. Anyway, but I used to have one once. I can't remember what, but the name of it was, I don't remember what the actual, the tag was, but its actual name was Bela Lugosi's dentist, which I thought was so funny, because of course the most important person in a vampire's life would be their dentist, right? I thought there'd be a movie in that, It's like I'm John.
That would be a great
I'm the dentist to the vampire world. I mean, oh dear. So anyway, I thought it was
at
really...
least a skit. Somebody should do that. Somebody do that.
So anyway,
a vampire dentist skit.
I know. So I thought it was really clever. So Bela Lugosi, obviously so famous for playing Count Dracula. So I thought Bela Lugosi's dentist. Anyway, I put it up, and somebody got offended by something I said, or they didn't like it, or something like that. Right. So anyway, so they came back, and you know what their response was? I bet you're a really shit dentist. And then people started coming back sort of saying, hi, Bella, how are you? It's like, fuck me. They really thought my name was Bela Lugosi and I am a dentist.
Warren.
How stupid is that?
You should have just embraced that shit right there.
Oh.
I would have made that my pinned tweet. I would have screenshot that shit and put it right at the top.
Oh, my God. It was so... And it went on for about a year. Like, people could not get the joke. And so many people would come back and sort of say, the Dentist Society of some fucking state in America followed me. Like the Dental Association.
Well, I think that's all just them on their little, like, pre-programmed follow things to follow people that mention things that they might be interested in hopes of getting more followers. But yeah, I mean... If I got rid of my Twitter account every time I thought I got too much attention from bots, I would have been gone a long time ago. The Naked Axiom one. That time that we talked about recently that Lawrence mentioned me on his show, I swear to God, I got 1,000 new followers that day, and they were all fake. And I've lost all of them since because they've been booted over time. But, you just don't follow them back. If I get a big, like, rush of people following me, I know to be super careful about who I follow back.
Well,
so
I've noticed on my...
I don't trust anybody anymore.
No. I mean, I ran a program for my Instagram, which actually lets you know people that you might be following who have decided to unfollow you or something like that. Once a month I run it. It's just interesting to see, and it helps
Is
you.
I feel like that would make my anxiety just through the roof.
It helps me. It helps me clean up clean it up to so I'm
the haters.
kind of. It also gets rid of bots and things like that as well. And what's interesting about the program, well, I think so, because it will say, how many people you're following that aren't following you, how many people that are following you that you're not following. But then it says how many people are blocking you. And I find this fascinating. And I couldn't work it out because I've got thousands of people blocking me. And I thought, who would block me on Instagram? Because there's nothing political about my Instagram. My Instagram account is pictures of food and watches. Like, there's nothing on there political at all. Unless it's Republicans wanting to ban photos of Chinese food or something like that. But so I couldn't work it out, and someone explained it to me. What happens is people follow you hoping to get an automatic follow back, to increase their numbers. But if you don't follow back, they unfollow you. But the problem is they can't they don't want to accidentally refollow you again, because it's just a bot. They have no idea who they are or aren't following. So what they do is they block you so they can't accidentally refollow you. Which means that I've got something like 1,000 odd bots who have attempted to follow me and then blocked me because I didn't follow them back. So I find that fascinating. So when you see all these accounts and it says, oh, I've got 3,000 followers, it's like, yeah, but how many are fucking bots?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, even Trump, I think they say he has like 65,000 followers or something, but 3/4 of them, I think, at least, and maybe I'm off. I'm paraphrasing in some sense, but it's something like that are fake. At least half of them are fake for sure. And we know that, but he didn't like the time that Obama had more Twitter followers than him. So he had to go through all that and and you can see them, like you can literally watch his numbers go up on days when he's feeling bad about himself. Yep. You can go in and just see these streams of brand new accounts from all over the place. And I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. I think, yeah, I mean, the guy's nuts, and I just don't even know what else to say.
I find it interesting that when you see all these Trump following accounts, all of them have started in 2016, 2017. There's hardly any of them are older than 2016, and all they are is retweets of Trump. There's no opinion. There's no photographs of holidays. There's no. So clearly, those are straight out of fucking Moscow.
But you know what I've noticed too?
Or also straight out of Republican Party headquarters.
Well, yeah, that's probably Russia anyway. It's like right up in the Kremlin. I've noticed recently that they have a lot of accounts that were started a very long time ago, like 2009 to 2014, and they have maybe 12 to 84 followers. But yet now all of a sudden they're coming out of the woodwork to start talking all of a sudden, and you won't see it on their main page. Maybe they don't even have any tweets on their main page. Maybe they have just a few. But if you go to their replies, all of a sudden in the last year or so, they've started popping out, and especially in the last 6 months, all out of the blue, started to tweet about things going on in the U.S., even if their account says they're from somewhere else. And, sometimes they'll say they're from here, or they won't say where they're from, but they're almost just an anonymous account, or they're trying to pretend like they're a person of color, when you can tell just by the things they're tweeting that they absolutely aren't. Yes. It's just... And recently, too, I've seen some proof where a bunch of trolls came out, a bunch of troll bots came out right after, I think it was one of the nights on the Democratic National Convention. Maybe it was the night Obama spoke or something. But they came out, started tweeting against the things that were being said. And one of them forgot to turn off their, one of them that specifically was mentioned in these tweets. I'm sure several others had. Maybe people didn't notice, but it was literally listed in a city in Russia, even though they were claiming to be like the Long Beach official Long Beach Antifa account or something, And it was like, come on, guys, get your shit together. If you're going to try to con people, at least be smarter about it.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It is fucking unbelievable.
Well, actually, talking about, I was about to say the big news of the week. Or last week, kind of. The really big news is that there's so many things to talk about, but TikTok. Trump wants to ban TikTok. Now...
I think we all know why.
Okay, I think we all know why, but...
There's several reasons. I can think of at least 3 reasons why he wants to ban it.
But I suppose before we talk about some of the serious shit that's going on... TikTok, is he even allowed to? Like, does the president have the right to stop a foreign company trading within the United States?
No, but Okay, go ahead.
I was just to say, because that's really all it is. It's TikTok is just a Chinese company that trades internationally.
It is. Yes, not trading. I mean, I guess he doesn't have the ability to stop them from actually trading within the U.S., but maybe. I'm not going to say for sure because I don't know about that. I do know that in some instances, and I'm not saying whether this applies because I'm thinking he probably can't ban them at this point. But there may be a way in regards to claiming something about national security, that the president has weird powers now because of the whole Patriot Act and the stuff that happened after 9/11. They gave him unprecedented powers. And I say him for now.
Hopefully in 5 years it'll be a woman.
I hope it will be. I mean, honestly, we are long past time for that. But regardless, there may be a way for him to do it technically and lawfully through a claim of national security. However, he hasn't done that. And honestly, I think we all know that he wants to ban them. One, okay, of course, I think because one is Chinese and he likes to pretend that he's tough on the Chinese when he's really fucking not. Okay, like that's a little game he likes to play. So he wants to throw this stuff out there. I guess I'm going to add an extra reason at the end of this, and I'm going to throw this in here because I think another thing he wants to do is distract by saying he's going to do this. Distract from the other very, very serious fucking things that are happening in our country right now, like the dismantling of our post office, so that they can try to stop mail-in ballots, so they can try to steal the fucking election again.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a whole other thing. But the other two reasons why I think he wants to ban TikTok is that, one, George Conway and Kellyanne Conway's daughter hates Trump very much. Now, let me tell you, I don't know whether or not she's involved in their big con, because we've discussed this before.
Yes, we have.
Ironically, their name being Conway, but I do think they're playing a big con. I'm not sure that the daughter is in on that per se, but she has a very popular TikTok account in which she trashes him repeatedly over and over again. She seems like she kind of hates her mom, but again, and I hate to be this cynical, but again, I'm very fucking cynical. I hope she really is sincere in the things she's putting out there, but she's been getting attention, and Trump hates it when anybody but him gets attention, especially for something that makes him look stupid. So that could be another thing. And then the big thing was the Tulsa rally fiasco, the Tulsa, Oklahoma rally, where they said they had 1 million requests for tickets, and they had this big, massive stadium to put people in and to fill it up. And then they had this big overflow area because they were sure that they were going to fill it up. And then in the end, what it was a bunch of TikTok fans, TikTok kids, and I love them so much, and I didn't want to love them, but I fucking do. They organized secretly and brilliantly to register for all these tickets and not show up, and it made the Trump campaign look like the fucking incompetent morons they are. And on top of that, they forgot when people were signing up for tickets to add the little checkbox that said you were 18 years old. Didn't do that. Most of it's probably fake, but otherwise they got a bunch of very real underage kids' data, which is illegal to harvest here. So,
well, I'll tell you,
I feel like because of all of that, I feel like he has an ingrained hatred for this app now and the people who use it, and he just wants it destroyed. But he can't. I really feel like he can't. Nobody's doing anything about his crimes. Why would they do anything about this?
Well, apart from the criminality aspect of the administration, which we have to talk about, another Trump advisor arrested. It doesn't stop. They talked about, lock her up. Every second week, a Trump advisor is being arrested.
This was a big one, Warren.
Yeah, I know.
This was a big one.
But we'll get to that in just a second. I just want to quickly tell you this story. During the actual election campaign, 2016, all right? Mm-hmm. Now, you know how in the United States, you're not allowed to get foreign donations for your elections, right? Like, in other words, you can't have it's illegal for, I don't know, a Filipino businessman to donate to the Trump campaign. All right, that's illegal, is my understanding.
Yeah, I say that with laughter because
I know. Yes. Sure it is. It's like, hey, Donald, it's Vlad. How much money you want? Hey, come on. It sounds.
Hey, don't do the accents. We discussed this.
That's really bad. Actually, that sounds like a Russian who's morphed with a Maltese. That's really. I think that was
bad. like a bad Italian accent from The Simpsons. Don't do that.
Sounded more like one of the Mario brothers. Where's my turtle? No, anyway. Anyway. But anyway, they were so disorganized, their election campaign, that they couldn't. All the email addresses and everything they collected were just in one giant group. They hadn't isolated them into various different areas, so everybody was getting the same email requests, which meant Australian members of parliament, actual government members, were getting emails from the Trump campaign asking for donations.
Well, they didn't give a fuck where their money came from. Let me tell you something.
No, but the thing is,
they can't get any money from the U.S. except for very limited spaces now. So they're trying to reach out to anybody because they're very transactional. If you give them some cash, whether it's, illegal or not, they'll figure out a way to back end you into a job as an ambassador in fucking Nicaragua or something like, I don't know. But they're going to put you somewhere where you want to be. And everything with that campaign and everything with the people in it is all transactional about what you can do for them. So of course they're going to accept it. Of course they will.
It's amazing, isn't it? It is amazing. But we should bring this up because obviously this is the perfect time. So Steve Bannon, what happened? What's for people around the world? Everyone knows Steve Bannon, the man who looks like a terminal alcoholic. That used to obviously work for the Trump administration, a well-known bigot, racist, homophobe, anti-Semite,
white
nationalist. Basically, he's a Nazi in corduroy. Basically, so.
That brings back some horrific memories of middle school.
I know.
Holy shit!
And so what? Can you let everybody know? Like, obviously, non-Americans. What happened? And why is this such a big deal?
Okay. Well, Steve Bannon, the piece of shit that he is, and being involved in multiple terrible things across the globe, and the Ukraine and all these places where he was really involved with Russia and all kinds of people. We know this for a fucking fact. People who were corrupt, and he's paid to come in and make sure they get installed in power. And then they brought him in, and I hear, and I'm not sure about this, but the rumor is that Kushner, Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, and his daughter Ivanka really, really pushed him to bring Manafort on as a campaign manager. So he did. Now, here's one thing I don't want people to forget, because people don't remember this all the time. Manafort is the one who insisted and pushed and pushed and pushed for Mike Pence to become vice president. Okay?
Right.
Now, Mike Pence was then put in charge of the transition team. The transition team was filled with people who were supposed to onboard Trump into the position of president. People who were experts that were going to help him align his policies and things like that with what was going on, get up to speed so that they could try to implement their policies, that sort of thing. Manafort made sure Pence was in there. Okay, so here's my question about that. Why the fuck would you want Mike Pence in there? Have you ever seen Mike Pence watch Trump while he makes a speech as he stands behind him? It's really freaking creepy. And have I told you about my connection to information about Mike Pence? Because I feel like I could drop this right on this show. And I haven't been drinking enough to not know what I'm going to say.
As long as you're not going to regret saying it later.
Oh, I'm not going to regret saying shit. I've said it on my actual political account.
Right, okay. All right then, okay.
For the last 3 years. But, the thing is that nobody's listening, except for the fact that there's somebody we know that knows somebody that's a reporter at New York Post who actually contacted me to find out more info. But you know what? I'd rather crawl into a pit with snakes than, which would be basically the same thing, than get into something with a reporter from the New York Post. Rupert Murdoch owns them, so they can fuck off. If a real reporter wants to talk to me, I'd be happy.
Yes.
But see, here's the thing. I know something about Mike Pence. He is not the person he pretends to be. And I have coined the phrase, and I don't know if I'm the first to coin it, but I feel like I was, because in my mind I came up with it. Sanctimonious. He's a fucking fake, sanctimonious Christian fraud. Here's how I know this.
Okay. Yep.
My late stepfather went to Hanover College in Indiana. His very best friend since college was somebody who lives now in Indiana. He's quite wealthy. He's married to his second wife right now. His first wife, unfortunately, not that long ago, passed away from cancer, a relatively quick cancer. His wife was a socialite, and them having as much money as they did, and a lot of people know who they are in the area, was involved in political campaigns and trying to protect their very capitalist interests. His wife was involved in Republican campaign. The Republican campaign she was involved in, of which I'm speaking, was the governor campaign, the campaign for governor of Mike Pence. Now, he had been a right-wing radio host in Indiana, and I don't know who it was that came to him and convinced him to start getting involved in politics, but he decided, I guess, to run for governor. Maybe he ran for something else before that. I'm not really sure, because I try not to think too much about Mike Pence. Unfortunately, I've been faced with his face nearly every day for the last few years. But she, the wife of my stepfather's very best friend, went to work on his campaign. She was a major campaign donor because they had a lot of money. And she worked on his campaign. And I'll just say that one day when they were, my mom and my stepfather were at their place in Indiana, something about Mike Pence popped up somewhere, and my stepfather's best friend said, "That asshole fucked my wife." And literally, they had met on the campaign and had some sort of a thing. I don't know whether it was an ongoing affair. I don't know whether it was just the one time or what it was. But, and here's the thing, this person doesn't lie, that he wouldn't have lied to my stepfather and my mother. And none of them would have lied to me. This actually happened, and apparently, and other people might remember this, there was a moment at some kind of a baseball game or some sort of a college game. I'm not sure exactly now. It's been a while. And again, I'm drinking Riesling. But when this husband saw Mike Pence and they got into kind of a verbal argument, and he said he nearly punched him in his face. And I know he didn't, but there was a moment when there was a very public argument. So I don't know too much more about that side of it, but I do know for sure that this happened, because there's no way that he would have said this if it hadn't, because knowing their relationship, him and my stepfather, he wouldn't have embarrassed himself with saying something like that if it hadn't been true. And it was, after that, I feel like maybe it was around the time when, and I don't know this for sure either, but I like to believe it. It's right about the time when Karen Pence decided that Mike Pence shouldn't be alone with any other women and wasn't allowed to drink anymore.
Oh, he used to drink. Wow. Okay.
Yes. Okay. He was running for governor. He used to get really shitty, and then
is this a bit like George W. Bush?
I don't know enough about Bush except that he was,
Oh no, it's just it was decided.
I don't know enough about him to say that. I do know that what I know about what this person told me and who these people were. Yeah. I believed them with every ounce of my being. every ounce of my being. And it's disgusting to see somebody like Mike Pence and Karen Pence up there, because I know Karen knows about it. And honestly, I've been very vocal about it on my Twitter account, but people just don't see. Some people go, oh, that's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And then people joke and say, I thought he was gay. Like, people who like men can't also like women. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yes, yeah, I know.
What I think he is an opportunist. Okay, I think he's an opportunist. That's the thing. And this relates back to what we were talking about, the whole Manafort thing. Okay. My mom joked one time about, she thought the fact that he's a Russian sleeper agent. I started thinking about it. To be perfectly honest, looking at the actual circumstances of how he's gotten to where he is, I'm not sure that's not a possibility. I don't know, and I sound like a conspiracy theorist here, and it is a conspiracy. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying I could see how that could be a thing, knowing the way the Kremlin and the FSB work and that sort of thing.
So what we're suggesting is a possibility, just a possibility.
Oh no, I'm suggesting it.
Okay, well,
strongly.
Suggesting.
I'm not saying it's true, but I'm strongly suggesting people think about it.
A bit like a fantastic movie, the original. If you haven't seen it, please see it, with Frank Sinatra, The Manchurian Candidate. We're suggesting basically the Siberian Candidate.
Yeah, well, no shit. And you know what's something funny is that I've never seen people really talk about is that the fact that Mike Pence's brother, and now I can't remember his name, but he's actually a member of Congress right now. He's a representative from Indiana. I believe he took Mike Pence's. Oh, you know what? That's funny. Yeah, Mike Pence actually had been in Congress. That's right. He had run for a congressional seat, had won that, then ran for governor. Maybe I'm wrong, and if I am, tell me. But this is what I believe I remember, is that his brother actually took his seat. So I'd look it up on my phone, but it's across the room recording me, so I can't do it right now. And Google has made us all stupid. We don't actually have to know anything.
I know.
We don't look it up. We just look it up.
It's like there's no such thing as a dinner party, friendly argument / discussion anymore. Because someone will just grab their phone. No, it was this. Oh, okay. All right. What are we going to talk about next? And so Google has, on phones, has destroyed conversation. Like,
you know what it's done is it's destroyed in conversation in my house in a way of making people pissed off, because if you think you're right and other people are wrong, and I have especially the child I gave birth to does this to me all the time, and it just makes me fucking mad. Look, if we want to have a discussion about something's this way and I say it's one thing and you say it's the other thing, okay? And we just go, and I say, yeah, it doesn't really matter or whatever because it's not really important. But the other person grabs their phone and looks it up to try to prove me wrong. Let me tell you something. I'm going to hit the fucking roof at that point. Yeah. Because is it really that important for you to be right that you have to look that up? And maybe after the fact, like, it's one thing to do it after the fact and come back and say, later and go, hey, I looked that thing up and actually it was this. You know what? I'm totally down for that. Okay. Educate me. But what I don't want is for somebody in the situation at that moment to look it up online and go, you know what? You're fucking wrong. I'm right. Ha ha. And that's what really bugs the shit out of me.
Yeah. I hear you.
That's
I understand.
Arrogance.
Yep.
And I'm fucking arrogant. But I don't like that.
I hear you. I fully understand. And but the other thing too is that everything you've said makes sense. The sleeper agent, I don't know. I'll need to think about that.
No, I'm not saying it's for sure. I'm saying that's a long shot kind of thing. But I'm telling you, I could see how it could be a thing.
Oh yeah, but everything else in regards to the fact that he was a hard-drinking womanizer who suddenly, like, his concept of finding God, it's like, all of these televangelists, who turned out to be fucking criminals, Mike Pence has always reminded me of a televangelist. Now, maybe there are some televangelists that are legit. All right, if you can
Maybe.
find me one, great. I don't think there are any, but if you can find me one, I think anyone who drives a Stingray or a fucking Rolls Royce has a private jet, and
Prosperity preachers.
right? Yeah, all built off the fucking donations of people. No, I don't believe you're legit at all. I'm sorry, but I don't. I really don't.
I agree.
Yeah, I really don't. No, there's something strange going on there. but actually, oh no, go on.
No, I don't. I said well, and then you said something, and I forgot. Okay, so go ahead.
But we were some other things though. We're talking about the banning of TikTok, and so forth. But here's the other thing too. When you're talking about sleeper agents, news was last week. We didn't get to talk about it on the last week's show. Trump is cutting the US deployment to NATO in Germany. He's pulling troops out of Germany. Are you ready for this? Because Germany doesn't want to pay the massive... he keeps saying pay their debts, which is bullshit. That's a lie. NATO doesn't have debts. NATO works on the idea that everyone should pay around about 3%. All right? Mm-hmm. Now, Trump says the United States... of GDP on defence. Yeah. Now, Trump says, well, we're the United States. We pay 1 zillion... I don't know what you do. I'm fucking American warmongers. Sorry.
He's just making up numbers anyway, dude. Go ahead and make one up.
Whatever it is. It's, I don't know, what America spends on defence, 5%,
a Google 6%. Zillion.
He doesn't know. All right. So, the problem is, he says, because Germany won't sort of pay that sort of figure... we won't defend them because they won't pay their debts, is what he's saying. Okay, the only person rubbing their hands together saying, well done right now, is a certain man sitting in the Kremlin. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yes. Did you notice recently that they announced some sort of fake-ass peace deal with UAE and Israel? UAE, which was never against Israel in real life. And Trump went on TV and said we don't have to patrol the straits anymore. The Straits of Hormuz, you know?
What?
You know, well, who doesn't want us in there? You know who doesn't want us in there?
Yeah, I know who doesn't want us in there. Yeah, and their friend
Russia
Iran.
doesn't want us. Iran doesn't want us in there.
Yeah.
You know who ran war games together recently? China, Russia, and Iran.
Yeah, I know.
In the Straits of fucking Hormuz. Like, what the fuck is happening? Everything that he's doing benefits Putin and Russia. Everything.
There is something going on there. I mean, whatever it is.
Yes.
I mean, whether it's pure corruption, whether it's espionage, whatever it is, but there is something fucking going on there. Nobody,
he's a tool,
as the leader of a nation, endlessly comes out with policies that actually support the foreign power over your own nation. There is something going on there. And it still blows my mind how 95% of Republicans say it's okay. That's the thing that blows my mind. All right, if Trump is just corrupt, which he is, all right, but what blows my mind is how do not 95% of people who are paid up members of the Republican Party, I'm assuming you have to pay to be a member. It's like most political parties, you've got to pay and join. How the fuck do they support that? That's the thing that blows my mind. It's not Trump. It's them. That's what I don't understand. They're
permitting all of this. They're the reason he's still in power. He actually could have been impeached already.
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
I know.
And he was impeached. But he would have been found guilty. He's already an impeached president. They didn't remove him from office because the Republicans were too fucking cowardly to actually even hear the witnesses. The thing is that they will do whatever they have to do to stay in power. They do not give a flying fuck about this country or the people in it. What they care about is themselves and what they're getting out of it. And they literally do not care. And I know people are going to say again, I'm hyperbolic or blah, blah, blah. But these would be the same people that told me that I was being an alarmist when I said Trump was a fucking fascist back in the 2000, like during 2015, before the election happened. I'm sorry, 2016, when the election was going on, not before it happened. But, he didn't get sworn in until, 2017. So the beginning of that. So again, just correcting my own stupidity. But I was told over and over again when I was freaking out about people saying, oh, I don't think I can vote for Hillary Clinton because blah, blah, and her fucking emails. And I'm like, this guy is a fucking literal fascist. I'm telling you right now, we cannot elect him. Oh, whatever. We'll see how it stirs everything up. You know what? Fuck those people right now. And they're the same people out there right now that are trying to tell people not to vote for Joe Biden because he's not a goddamn god that's come down from the sky in all perfection and white glowing glory for them. And I don't care what color their skin is, okay? These people have a purity complex that makes me disgusted.
Oh, I know.
Okay? And I just can't help but relate it to fucking racism in a way because it's like they want this white savior to come down and save them. Well, and I just don't understand it. And he's like, look, Bernie Sanders, let me tell you something. I have for years respected Bernie Sanders. For years I did. I listened to the things he was saying. I was totally on board with him online. I didn't know that much about him, okay? But what I saw during the 2016 election, not necessarily just from him, because there were some things that I really, I started to actually pay attention to his record in Congress. And I started to really actually pay attention to his record on gun control and stuff like that. And look, I own weapons. I'm not trying to say people shouldn't own guns. I'm for the First Amendment, but I think we have to be more responsible. And gun control is an actual thing that can happen, and people who own guns and know how to use them can get behind it. The NRA is a back channel to the fucking Kremlin to funnel money to the people in the Republican Party. They're the ones that are getting the money from this thing. And they're the ones trying to keep everybody in our country as a lobbyist from doing anything to protect the kids in our schools and things like that. People that go into concerts, shit like that, they don't care. For Bernie to vote against gun regulation all the time really started to bother me. And then I saw the stuff that happened with, the way he didn't call for his, he didn't actually say Hillary had won in the primary and tell his people to get behind him. Now, I will say he's done better this time, and I do appreciate it. I don't appreciate his followers in the sense that they're fucking rabid people sometimes. And don't get me wrong, because I have friends and people that I know and respect and care about that support Bernie Sanders and his ideas that are not like this. But when the majority of the people that you are getting contact with online in different places that have these views, the majority of them are coming at you and attacking you and calling you names and telling you how stupid you are and that you're a neoliberal centrist when you're not, simply because you have a pragmatic ideology about the fact that we have to get past this point before we can really start looking at everything that we really want to have. And I know baby steps are hard, and I know we've been doing it for a long time, and we have a bunch of people in our country that keep pulling us backwards over and over again. But that doesn't mean we should throw out our little baby steps in lieu of nothing, because literally if we don't take the baby steps we're getting, we're going backwards. So instead of sabotaging that, support the people that are trying to at least get these fucking people out of our country who are literally tearing it down around our ears. Help us do that. We talked about it last week. Was I super excited about Biden? No, not necessarily. But goddamn, I will work hard to get him elected. I will.
But how many times does this happen? I mean, it's like when the Germans, or I rephrase that, when the Nazis when the Nazis invaded Yugoslavia in the Second World War, half of the people, half the battles that would take place during the occupation would be between Chetnik and partisan, and it basically that breaks itself down to Serbian or Croatian, fighting each other for power. In China, even during the Second World War, the Japanese have ripped and quite literally raped the country, and the communists and the nationalists are spending more time fighting each other than they are fighting the bloody Japanese.
Yeah.
This stuff happens, and if it happens in situations like that, which is life and death, the fact that it happens in political parties doesn't surprise me at all. I think it's terrible, though. I mean, it should all be about getting rid of this corrupt leader.
Thank you.
That's what it should be about. There should be one goal and one goal only.
Yeah, look, I mean, I understand if you don't like the Democrats. Look, I get that. Again, we've talked about this before. As I've gotten older, I've gotten more and more progressive in my ideas. But I'm also not unrealistic. I feel like I'm pragmatic. I understand that the majority of the country isn't ready to take these bold steps, and we have to bring them along the best we can. And it's like dealing with our elderly parents and grandparents, okay? We're not just going to tell them, fuck you, I hope you die unless you elect this person that I want you to elect, because you don't deserve to have anything if you don't believe the way we do. You might as well, suffer under these people like Trump's putting in. I'm not that kind of person. Look, am I thrilled with people that I've met that are Trump supporters? Fuck no. And I've cut a lot of people out of my life for just revealing themselves to be virulent racists and just hateful fucking people. And now I can't ever look at them the same because they revealed themselves to me. And maybe that makes me petty. What the fuck ever. I get to choose the energy I have in my life. And I do not choose to have those people around me. So yeah, I've cut people out of my life, but as a whole, as a nation, I understand we all have to move forward together. And that means those of us who might think more forwardly, regardless of how angry we are at the people behind us lagging behind, if we actually care about the people in this country, we have to stop and turn around and offer a hand up to them and help bring them along at their pace. And stop trying to yank them up the fucking road and shove them down a hill they're not ready to go down, because that's not going to lead to anything that's good for anybody in this country.
Well,
we have to take more time to actually make our case instead of just telling people that they're pieces of shit because they don't abide by what we think. But in regards to that doesn't mean that we have to accept horrible, terrible human beings that are literally going out of their way to hurt others for their own personal gain.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
saying? And I'll put it this way. This is the way I would sum it up. If you believe that in medical research, you should be looking at demon ejaculations and alien
Don't get me
DNA.
excited. Cut it out.
To actually deal with medicine, you're a Trumpist, right?
Yeah.
If that's what you really believe, because unbelievably, the president does. The president supports the testing of, well, officially, he doesn't in reality.
No, he doesn't. What he supports is people speaking out in positive ways about things that he's spoken out in positive ways about.
Even though
he doesn't give a shit who they are, they might be crazy. He doesn't give a fuck.
What it also does show is that I don't actually think he knew any of that because he's so lazy. He's the laziest son of a bitch in the world. Like, quite literally, he is one of those men who would sit in his chair, click his fingers to his wife and say, "Get me a beer, woman," because he can't be fucked getting up to get it himself.
He wouldn't drink.
Now, the whole point is that I have to admit, many years ago, I did used to do that with my daughter, but that was just no. Wait. No, let me put that into context. Let me put this into context as a joke, not. I didn't do it as in, and it wouldn't be get me a beer. It would be get me a red wine. But no. But it was done as a joke. It was a bit like, child, move. You have no rights. Get me food. Get me drink.
Oh my God.
No, it's a joke. It's not.
I understand this. Okay. No, I get it. Yeah, because I watched it with my father-in-law because he liked to drink and it was cheap shit, but it was adorable. Early times whiskey on the rocks, little rocks glasses. And he would it would be empty, and he would shake it at his kids and go, "Why is my drink empty?"
Yes.
And they would all go get him something.
What?
Honestly, he was the sweetest man. Like, I adored him.
I got a friend. I can still remember when their first child was born, and she put their first daughter up for like child modelling and did a number of child modelling jobs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I still remember she goes, "Oh, all the effort I put in. It's about time they paid me back." It's like they're 4 years old.
God. Holy shit! That's what Britney Spears' father said. Now look where she is.
Yeah. However, she was kind of half joking. She wasn't actually doing it for the money. She was actually doing it because she wanted to do something to be involved with the child, and she was interested in fashion and advertising, and so it was a little bit different. But so she was kind of half joking, but I thought it was funny. But
probably. No, go ahead, finish, and I'll tell you my story.
But I'm just saying that, but that whole thing, I mean, I would do that. I would sit there and I'd sort of say, coffee, now, go. It's like a caveman. Cafe, latte,
it's your right
now,
as a father.
Go.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. But that was the thing, because you're just joking around, you're mucking around, you're having fun, and there's but what I was trying to say was about Trump, is that Trump wouldn't do it as fun, he'd do it seriously. Like Trump is the sort of man who, if he wasn't rich, would be sitting back, in his, I don't know, what's a poor part of New York?
Did you ever see the movie Matilda? Did you ever see the movie Matilda with Danny DeVito?
Yep.
And he was the used car salesman.
Yeah.
That would be Trump.
Yep.
He would be the Danny DeVito character in Matilda. That would have been him. Watching TV, eating TV dinners, and not wanting to read books is a crazy thing, and just wanting to sell cars and rip people off.
I actually heard somebody say...
And ignoring your children. Except if he wouldn't ignore his daughter, she would be sitting on his lap. So...
yeah, there's something weird about that fucking relationship, isn't there? I mean...
you think? He was best friends with... I'm not saying best friends, really. I did.
No, but he was friendly with Epstein.
Best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Give me
that's exactly
break.
right. There's... I cannot believe that Trumpists are still trying to link the Clintons to Epstein. Now,
okay, well,
now wait, but however, are they right in what they're saying? Yeah, they probably are.
Okay,
but their fucking savior and
doesn't mean
God.
There was anything nefarious going on.
That's exactly right. But their savior and God is just as linked. In fact, there was a lawsuit of a girl which has been dropped. I thought it had been dropped, that lawsuit, but I stand to be corrected.
I do believe something has been revived, but I don't know for sure about that. But it had been dropped because she was getting death threats.
Yes. And I wonder who they were from.
Gee, I wonder.
Yeah, I know.
Michael Cohen was already in jail, I think, so it couldn't have been him.
Well, it doesn't matter. There's still how many? 64 million Twitter followers Trump reckons he's got. There's 64 million people. Because I'll be honest with you, if you're a Trumpist, you don't have a problem with giving death threats. Because look, there was something I once heard, and I thought this was fascinating. They are so now hitched to the wagon of Trump, like Republicans or conservatives in the United States, that the problem is any excuse now is an excuse, to the point where religious people, devoutly religious people, are now using the argument that he is... who was it? Is it Isaiah? I can't remember his name. Going back into Jewish history, the man who was not a religious man that God used, Isaiah, to teach religion to people, even though he himself was not religious, he was used as a vessel by God. This is in the Old Testament. They are now claiming that Trump is the reincarnation, literally, the second coming of Isaiah. Because they have to justify... Wow. They have to justify...
Fucking justify anything.
Right,
yeah.
They have to justify, why is this man living, working, dealing with criminals every day? Why is he sleeping with prostitutes? Why is he sleeping with porn stars when his wife has only just had their son 2 months earlier?
For those of us who believed it.
It's like...
But see, here's the thing, Warren. People in that ideology, I'm going to use that term, are at a place where they literally are raised with accepting that kind of behavior from the patriarch. They are raised in a way, and it's set up in this weird fucking way with the God himself being the ultimate patriarch, the ultimate authority, to just accept authoritarianism and just accept that there's always going to be somebody above you that's going to tell you that they want you to behave this way and you better fucking do it or you're going to be punished, while they behave however the fuck they want. Let's be honest. God in the Bible is a goddamn asshole. Okay? He was an asshole. He killed people. He told other groups to go in and kill everybody in a city, including the children and all these things. Like, how the fuck are children supposed to be evil? Like, why would you kill the babies and things like that if you weren't fucking evil? I don't understand how people don't see how these books that are written are just basically excuses and justification for our own goddamn inhumanities. And it just makes me disgusted. And again, and we discussed this before, I'm not an atheist, but god damn, I don't believe these things. I feel like they've just taken stories from time after time from other cultures and things like that and just repurposed them for themselves. And,
okay, well, I asked any...
and I just...
Sorry, no.
Am I insulting people? Perhaps.
No, I'm cutting you off. Sorry, keep going. Sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead. Say what you're going to say. I've been... No. I've been talking. I was just saying, I've been told I've been insulting people.
No. Well, no. Well,
you didn't say that. I don't give a...
Well, my idea that
some people are insulted.
If you insult a bad person, that's okay. I don't really mind that, The thing is that, and second of all, I don't actually believe that you do that. Speaking your mind is not insulting somebody. It's like Jim Jeffries says. What is it? What's the First Amendment? Is that the press or is that speech? And what's the gun one?
Freedom of speech and press. Yeah, it's both.
And what's the gun one too? Okay. Well, that's right. He says,
Amendment.
Your First Amendment means that I can say that your Second Amendment sucks dicks. And I thought, that's an interesting line. That's an interesting line.
That's hot.
But the whole that whole idea. Ask any historian. The Old Testament is not fucking history. We all know how... We spoke about this last week, actually, so I don't want to go over it again. We all know it all has all come from Assyria through Babylon into what, become Israel, and then from
Anunnaki.
Israel, and then from, and then... Oh, that reminds me, too. I've been re-embracing Stargate, SG-1.
The series. I just watched that movie recently again, and I was like, okay, this is funny. We always joke about the line in the film where he gives him the candy bar, and the guy goes, Bonnie way. Yeah. Laugh. I can't help but constantly quote ridiculous movies in my life, and if you can't accept it or understand what I'm saying, we can't be friends.
But no, what I was just going to say is that we've been ripping into religion a little bit, and so maybe we'll just change it. But it does bring up the point. Stargate is Stargate blasphemous to many? Like, were there
to who? Amun Ra?
Well, no,
blasphemous too.
Because I suppose, but that's the thing, isn't it? Did they never have a go at the Christians, did they? They had a go at the the Norse
No.
religion. They had a go at Egyptian religion. They had a go at Chinese, Buddhism. But they had a bit of a go at Buddhism, didn't they? Although, don't they?
I did. Let me tell you something. I didn't watch the show as much. I watched a bit, but see, it didn't have James Spader.
Although they literally got James Spader's stunt double. Fuck me! How similar do they look?
That's not James.
No, I know it's not James Spader.
I don't give a shit how I don't give a shit how much like similar people look to each other. If they don't have the same energy, they're not the same people. I'm attracted to people's energy, and James Spader, holy shit, yes, okay, I frickin' love him in everything I've ever seen him in. Honestly, I don't know anything I've seen him in that I don't love him in. He's second in a way to me to who I have discovered not that long ago was James McAvoy, who, dear God, everything I see him in blows me away. Therefore, he has value.
Right.
I don't know how else to explain it. Then I saw him on Saturday Night Live, and he was speaking with his Scottish accent, and he wore a kilt, and I was finished. So, yeah, that's it.
Well, was it during
the? Say about that.
Well, one thing a lot of people who at least follow me on Instagram will know that I buy and sell watches all the time. Like I buy watches, sell them, buy another watch, sell it until I find exactly where I'm happy, with watches, because I love watches, and
that's me in houses.
Anyway, one watch that arrived in the mail during the week was my Seiko Arnie, the re-release of the watch worn by Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, in The Running Man, in Commando, and one other film too. The one where he's undercover FBI, was a mob boss is trying to kill his old boss. Terrible film, but anyway, I can't remember. Oh. And the reason why it's in those 4 movies is because it was Arnie's.
Did it have Jamie Curtis in it?
And he just no.
Did it have Jamie Curtis in it? That last one?
No. That's much later.
Okay.
That's True Lies. That's True Lies.
Yeah, true. Okay,
I still love that film. That's a great film. Ridiculous as it is, but it's still great. It's great fun. But anyway, so my watch, the Seiko Arnie dive watch, arrived, and it's the movie from, and that's why I just had to post on Instagram, "Get to the chopper." When it arrived. So anyway, last night I sort of thought, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to baptize this watch somehow. So the watch and I'm wearing the watch, sat down with a espresso martini or 3, and we watched The Running Man. And I haven't seen The Running Man in years. No.
Wait, the original. Oh,
no,
Arnie, so
Arnie, the Running Man. And
that
movie, it's
Richard Dawson.
Richard Dawson. I love Richard Dawson. I think he's great.
Yeah, me too.
I saw him interviewed actually about his time in Hogan's Heroes. I've also seen him interviewed talking about Bob Crane. It's a little bit I didn't realise that Richard Dawson had actually kind of put Bob Crane in contact with the man that possibly murdered him. But we don't know that. I mean, all of this is, it's still an unsolved crime. But
but wouldn't that be some shit? Just for him personally, his internal stuff. Yeah.
Although, but you wouldn't blame Richard Dawson for that. It was from my understanding, it was.
No. But can you imagine though, just his own personal turmoil from that?
Yeah, it's.
I'm gonna go off. Can I tell a quick story?
Yeah, of course. I'm talking about a watch.
In the middle of this? Okay.
Let's hear a real story.
We did a show here in Orlando called the Dooley and Powell Show. It had just started. It was literally a show that was done by the people that were the makers of Sesame Street. And they had set up this whole production coming down here, and one of the young ladies they had hired was a woman named Carly. She was young. She was probably in her early 20s. She had gone to a like a theatrical school somewhere up north. But they knew who she was, and they literally wanted her so much to work with the kids on the show that they brought her down to Orlando and bought her, had rented her an apartment to move in, so that she could be down here because we were going to shoot at Disney Studios here. And we had gone in a few days. The production company had actually found the apartment for her. She'd moved in. It was near, the beginning of December, I guess. And we'd done a few practices and things like that with the kids and everything. And then one day they called us up on a weekend, and we weren't going to go in to shoot on Monday. And the reason was because Carly had been murdered. It was New Year's Eve. She had been murdered by the maintenance person from her apartment who had a master key when he had helped her move in. And on New Year's Eve, he broke into her apartment with his master key and had assaulted and murdered her. And so the entire production shut down. And everybody went home because the producer who had found Carly and had hired her and had found her apartment could not let go of the guilt that resulted from her murder. They felt completely fucking responsible for it. And I'm going to be honest with you, it devastated the entire crew. I didn't know her that well. I had only met her a few times, but damn, she was a beautiful person that what I had seen, the light around her was just beautiful. I understood why they wanted her to work with the kids. And, but it's just weird to me, one, that her entire life changed in a way to get her to move all the way down here just to lose her life. And secondly, the person who advocated for her and found her a place to live and did all these things that literally resulted, except for the fact that it was this other person that had done this and their decisions that had done this. They felt so guilty that they literally just couldn't let it. They couldn't let it go. I don't know if at this point they can. I still actually have a poster on my wall of the Dooley and Pals show that was going to be shot here with all the kids. She's not in the picture, unfortunately, but we actually thought about naming Noah before he was born. We didn't know if he was going to be a boy or a girl. We had considered the name Carly. But the people who my husband worked with at the time, 2 weeks before Noah was born, they had a daughter. And they had the same last name as us, which was hilarious. Everybody always thought they were brothers or something. It was like, no, it's literally no relation. They had a daughter 2 weeks before Noah was born. They named her Carly. So we couldn't do that. But he was a boy anyway, so it worked out. But I think about that survivor's guilt. I think about those, not only Carly, but I think about the producer that felt so overwhelmingly guilty about doing everything that they could do to make her life amazing, and it led literally to her being murdered. And that's like a weird, like, karmic thing to me. Like, I know you're an atheist and stuff, and you don't believe in that kind of thing, but to me, that's like a concept of
I
like,
get it though.
Whoa, that's like a heavy thing to fucking have to deal with, I don't know. I forgot we were talking about it in that because I got sad now.
No, that's all right. No, well, okay. Well,
they're amazing. And it was going to be a great show.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So, no, we don't like that.
It was just a weird, like.
No, but it's, wow.
Wow.
No, go on.
Well, no, I don't mean to bring everybody down. I did want to mention it because of what we were talking about, the survivor thing, but also because once in a while, I still like to mention her because I want people to not forget her. The thing that came out of that is that here in Florida now, after that happened, is that we now require those weird kind of slide locks on doors with a bolt, so that there's no key that can open them, and you can close them from, like, in hotel rooms and apartments now. If you are in your apartment taking a shower or doing whatever, or you're in a hotel room, there's this thing that is a latch now that will slide over. It will keep people, even with a key, from coming into your room if somebody's in there.
Interesting.
And that literally happened and is saving lives in our state now because she lost hers. And I'm sad that happened, but I am happy that now people are able to protect themselves in their own homes from people that might have a key.
Well, see, that's
to the place where they are.
So that's very, very unusual in Australia, just in apartment complexes where they have a master keyed system. It's very, very unusual for the master key to open the apartments. Very unusual. And if it's been set up that way, the locksmith that did it, tut, they were very lazy. Or someone has purposely requested it. Because generally... No, I was about to explain master keying to everybody. No one wants to understand how master keying works. Don't.
No. But see here, they think that if they are the apartment owners and you're renting from them, that the maintenance men and the people who own the apartment complex, say the managers or the leasing agents or whatever it is, should be able to enter your apartment at any fucking time because it actually doesn't belong to you. It belongs to them. So if you're not home and they want to do something in your apartment, some sort of maintenance thing or anything like that, they can just simply open the door and come straight in and not give a fuck. I have a real problem with that. Because if I'm in the shower and I'm in an apartment and I'm doing something and I don't hear the door, they're just going to fucking come in. I sometimes come out of the shower naked and walk across the house. I don't want to have to worry if I step out that the maintenance guy's going to be standing there. Now, luckily, I live in an actual, like, a house right now, but I've lived in apartments before, and I could tell you that's fucking terrifying, like the concept of it. So here in America, if they have an apartment complex, they can have an actual key to your apartment at any given time.
That's weird.
It's
that's
sitting
weird.
Down there in the office for them to be able to enter your apartment whenever they want. Now, they're supposed to give you notice, but if somebody like this crazy asshole who hurt her has access to those keys, what's to stop them? So luckily we have this bolt thing now that can keep you. If you're in the home, you can lock it. If you're outside, it doesn't lock from the outside, but you can lock it if you're in home, and it can keep people from coming in. So,
wow, that's
I don't know.
amazing.
You know.
Yeah, so building managers, maintenance people in Australia don't have access to your apartments. It doesn't work.
Isn't that nice? See, another reason to think about moving there.
Well, it's just that's the way we master key buildings. They're not master keyed that way. Generally speaking, the apartments come under their own master key, where so you'll have a services master and then you'll have an apartment master, and the apartment master doesn't link to the grand master, the general master of everything. So basically, and then most locksmiths will not issue the master key apartment's key. It's never issued. It exists, but it's never issued. So it's very, very unusual for that to happen in Australia. But I have come across buildings where it has. I'll be truthful, like in my work, with apartment complexes, I have seen it happen. It's interesting.
Well,
it's interesting.
Tell me
stuff.
more about watching.
Anyway, but we were talking actually more about Stargate and
movie.
Predator. Just to finish off with Predator. So anyway, not Predator, Running Man. So anyway, I'm sitting here with my Seiko Arnie, 200-meter dive watch, Seiko Arnie, which I have coveted for quite a while, and I finally just said, yeah, bugger it, I'm going to get one. And so we're watching it, and the Running Man, and I'd loved it originally, and I'd seen it a couple of times, and then watching it again last night, and I thought, this movie hasn't aged. Like, I mean, the special effects are a bit cheesy, and the dialogue could maybe be a bit better, and and stuff like that. But realistically, it still stands up. It still holds up as a good film. Some of the jokes in it are great. I love it when they're trying to hack into the system, and the guy, the leader of the resistance, is there, and he sort of says, "Now, spikes number 1, go to signal 58B, load this, Mr. Spock, you have the con." and then suddenly one of the guys turns around and says, "Who's Mr. Spock?" And I love it. It's absolutely great. But what I'd forgotten about is the movie is set in 2017.
Oh, I've forgotten that too. Holy shit. That. Yeah, it seemed like a long way.
But here is the thing. Here's the real interesting thing. In The Running Man, in the movie, now I've never read the book, so I can't comment on that. But in that movie, the president and the government of the United States don't talk about policy. They don't talk about numbers. They talk about ratings. Does that remind you of anyone who may run a certain American country at the moment?
Oh, God.
Ratings.
So
it was fascinating. I'm watching it, and they're all then it says the president's concerned about ratings. And I thought, wow, does that sound familiar or what? And, but anyway, so...
You've seen the movie Idiocracy, right? You've seen that?
No.
Idiocracy?
No, I haven't actually. No, I haven't.
Oh my God, please find this movie.
Oh,
please find it. It's literally like the extreme of America from where we're going if we just keep going on this path with Trump and everything, like where we'll end up. And holy shit, okay? It's just everything and it's a comedy. There's ridiculous things in it that happen, but also I see parallels to today. And a while ago when it came out, it was a joke. And now I'm going, holy shit, this could be literally our future. And I just, it's pretty fucking terrifying. The crops all died because they were watering them with Gatorade. Because the marketing was, or not Gatorade, but it's like Gatorade. But they're like, the marketing was, Gatorade has what plants crave. So therefore people thought you just put Gatorade or its equivalent on the plants. It doesn't matter that it was filled with fucking sodium and destroyed all the plants. Like it was that, and also very far beyond ridiculous because
not
movie.
That far below.
But
the president's preaching demon semen. So it's not that far out there.
Oh, he just thought she had an important voice that should be heard. He didn't know anything about her. Warren, what's wrong with you?
Demon semen. I want to know why Dr. Fauci has not investigated demon semen. And I believe that all Republicans should be out there.
At my house.
All Republicans should be out there now actively trying to source demon semen. All right? And if they're not, I want to know why they're not. Because they believe in it.
I'm really excited.
They believe in it.
And you know what?
I can see all these Trumpists, all these Trump lovers, they're sort of doing seances to summon the devil and say, "Can I please jerk you off into this cup?"
They're not going to do that.
They're not going to. All these demons will come through the fucking Ouija board gate, and they'll be jerking them all off.
I'm sorry, that was really wrong of me.
Sorry, what?
I spelled a naughty word. No, I'm not going to repeat it. No, I didn't spell shit. You don't get to hear it. Other people will, and I'm very sorry, everyone. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But I'm not.
I missed it.
I'm not.
I can't comment. I missed
Nope, you did. You'll have to go back and listen to the show like I'm not ever going to do.
Well, so... neither am I. But I'm just waiting to hear about Republicans starting to have demon wanking parties. Come on, they can all get together because they don't have to social distance if you're a Republican, because it's okay, remember, in a pandemic, not to social distance. So they can get together, they can get out the Ouija board, they can summon a demon, and then they can all jerk off the demon, and then they can send the semen to Donald Trump, who can pass it on to cure coronavirus. Now, isn't this a plan? I do not know why the Republican Party isn't on board. Mike Pence must be trying to pitch this to the president right now. Warren. Come on, Mike. Pitch it to the president. Jerk off a demon. Come on.
I want to know what OnlyFans you're paying for.
It'll be perfect.
Don't say bukkake. That's my word. You cut it out. Anyway, I want to know what OnlyFans account you are subscribed to, because that is some shit right there. And I am... Wait. No, where's my fucking pen? Like, no, I have paper. You tell me right now.
Jerkoffademon.com.
OnlyFans. Jerkoffademon.com. Holy shit.
I can't. This is something. Okay. What's that big? What's that
I endorse him fully.
What's that big porn company in America? Brazzers. Come on, Brazzers. Jerk off a demon. Tell me you can make a movie. Come on.
We have a jerkoffademon.com, please. Someone.
I'd love to know. Do a search. Do a Google search.
Wait, Warren, did you look that up before you said it to me? Because there might I
seriously did not look that up. If that exists, I was about to say blown away.
You'll be jerking off a demon.
I was about to say, I'll be getting my credit card out to subscribe after the show. Jerk off a demon. Save the Trump presidency by jerking off a demon. Come on.
That is way more than I needed to know about you today.
Oh, dearie me. Oh. Anyway. I'll tell you what. I reckon we should take a quick break.
Okay.
All right, and we will come back, and we will continue the champagne conversation.
Oh God.
And we are back, and I just need
always laughing coming back from break.
That's because they haven't heard what we were talking about.
Thank God. Please
that's
tell them.
That's why there should be an After Dark version. There should be the Saints Martini and the Saints Martini After Dark. We should just be the conversation.
Okay, that's like a Cinemax channel. Warren, here it is already after dark. That's why I'm drinking. No, I can't help it if I meant
it more in principle rather than... It's, do you remember a show called Silk Stalkings? Silk Stalkings? Do you remember that?
Oh, good Lord, yes. I remember the name of it.
I can still remember... I loved this show because it used to play on a Saturday night. If you didn't go out on a Saturday night, right? And this show would be on the TV. And it was kind of saucy, even though it wasn't actually saucy at all, but it was kind of saucy. And it was, I don't know, that's kind of like the After Dark, you know, the Black Label. Ooh, you know?
There used to be a Cinemax After Dark thing here, Cinemax, like a premium cable channel here. I don't know if you guys have that over there or not, but they used to have these Cinemax After Dark, porn. And it was like Friday or Saturday nights, like after 10 p.m., and it was all soft porn. Right. It's like in the 80s.
Funny. We had pay for porn on TV. You'd buy porn.
We had scrambled porn on TV.
But that's all. Yeah, but that's all gone now. They don't have that anymore. I think their attitude is the internet has killed all of that. There's absolutely no point.
Yeah, the internet exists.
So it's like porn on TV. There's no need for it anymore. Like no one's going to buy porn on television when you can get it for free on the internet. You know, so.
Yeah, if not in your own bedroom, but yes, the internet for sure.
You know,
just go ahead. Everyone can make their own porn. Just doesn't mean it's going to have all the people they want to have in it. They can make their own.
We want to make
but
our own porn.
Available.
What do they? To quote another Australian comic, it's a little bit like in Australia, prostitution is legal. In America, it's against the law, but there is an out. If your friend films you with the prostitute, it's legal.
Yeah, if you want to pay a woman for sex, that's illegal. But if you film it while you pay a woman for sex, then that's totally legal.
So all you have to do is bring someone with you with a video camera, and you have not broken the law. America. God love you. Anyway, but so I shouldn't say I love it. America's a great country.
Don't say anyway.
No, but never think that I'm actually hate America, because I don't. You're my dear friend and you're American. I love America. America's a great place. But as an Australian, I can still laugh at the differences, you know what I mean? As I'm sure.
Well, I laugh at this all the time, and I live here.
As I've been told by a number of Americans, they laugh at Australia. So that's all fine. That's all cool. It works both ways, you know?
I don't laugh at Australia. I'm thinking of moving closer to there. I told you I can actually get to Hawaii.
Although,
That might be that might make me actually feel like I've gotten out of this country, but even though I'm not. But it's closer to where you are. It's pretty cool.
Well, you
I'm looking
become
at it.
part of that Pacific Club, don't you? If you're in Hawaii, you're part of the Pacific Club.
What?
Well, Japan, South Korea, Thailand,
It's our club.
Indonesia, Philippines, Australia. You're all part of that club.
Well,
You?
maybe, but I feel like I would just be a haole living on their land. But whatever, man.
Yeah, but haven't
I
they
can't leave the country.
Okay, I'm
We
only
talked
going.
about this. It doesn't matter if I have property because I didn't get my kid a passport
No, I know,
when I renewed mine, and
I
therefore
know.
I can't take him anywhere. Therefore, I can't go to the property. But maybe I can go to Hawaii. You know, that's at least not right in the middle of the country.
But it's still America. Does it make any difference? But what I mean is, you may as well move to California. It's like
no. I'd rather die in a volcano than in an earthquake.
Than live in California, really.
My parents were hippies. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I was raised, and I'm eating cheese here. I'm very sorry if everybody hears me chewing.
And the sky is grey. And the sky is
don't
grey.
joke.
California.
Darn.
Sorry, couldn't help it. Yeah, don't go on, please. No, don't.
You're serenading me again. You know how I feel about that.
I know.
You get me all worked up, man.
Sorry. Okay.
Anyway, they were hippies, and I was raised with this concept of earth changes approaching us all in the near future. And the more I see sometimes on TV and I've seen some weird shit lately about our magnetic field and stuff like that, I'm feeling like, okay, these things could happen, right? I'm not saying they're going to. Maybe I'm nuts. I'm not trying to live my life in fear of it, but I sure as fuck don't want to move to California because my whole life I was told that California, and I say this jokingly, was going to fall off the face of the earth. Basically, it was going to break off and sink into the ocean.
Yes.
And that the ocean was going to push all the way into, Denver was going to be a coastal city. Okay. That may or may not be true.
I think Denver's a little bit of an exaggeration. I think they're talking about maybe 100 kilometers of coast.
Let's just say, Warren, if what my mother told me other things are true, then it's not just about it's not a tidal wave. Okay, it's literally like a crustal placement shift. And that's what happens. And so the magnetic poles shift and the planet shifts quickly, and then that's how we had all right, I'm still eating cheese. Okay, so that's how we had
Swiss.
Frozen, right?
Yeah.
Mammoths frozen in tundra with fresh dandelions in their mouths, or daffodils, I think they said.
Yeah.
They were frozen basically in an instant. So the theory is that they're going by is that was something of a magnetic pole shift. I saw some interesting data recently that made me go, maybe we've had some shifts, and I don't know if it means the things that they said it did or will. But there's some evidence, there's some actual technological evidence that we may have already had some magnetic pole shifting. Not massive amounts, but more than you would maybe expect. And we can talk about that later or whatever.
Well,
but
I'm thinking mammoths.
I don't want to live in California.
Mammoths. Okay, but mammoths caught in the tundra with food still in their mouth, frozen, literally in the act, a little bit like human bodies, in Pompeii, in ash. I'm likely
actual fresh daffodils in their mouth.
No, but I'm more likely to believe the idea that
left by people incinerated and evaporated by a pyroclastic.
But if you're talking about mammoths, all right, more likely we're talking about an animal that lived through an ice age where it experienced, and I've forgotten the actual scientific name, but what is literally a sub-zero tornado, where the temperature moves from minus 20 to minus 100 in a click of the fingers, instant. Okay.
Yeah.
And
okay. So what causes that, though?
But that's no. It's just it's weather. It's not a polar shift. That's just weather. These things happen.
Well, there's
actually
some data that shows that we've had some pole shifts. So
no.
I'm not saying that that's why that happens.
No. Pole shifts are real. We're overdue.
Yeah, I'm not
for
claiming that that's why that happened, and we are overdue for one. I'm just saying that the way I was raised, it's kind of like dogma from like really intense Christianity, where you have these things that were kind of beaten into your head over time when you were young. And even though there's no real specific evidence for it, it's still sometimes hard to shake the fear of those things. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
It's not that I necessarily, it's not that I necessarily think it will happen. I always, though, have this thing in the back of my head, which is hope for the best and prepare for the worst. You know what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
So I actually tried, and what are you going to do? Like super volcano under Yellowstone National Park here. You can't really do anything like that. You can't do anything to stop that here in Florida. Like if that happens, if a super volcano actually finally fucking erupts again in Yellowstone, we're all pretty much fucked, and there's nothing we can do about it. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't still try. You know, so I have these weird like dogma things in my head that I'm trying to fight.
I think one of the things is that I remember my mother telling me this as a child, probably after seeing my first horror movie as a child, and actually saying to me that you can't control the world, so don't worry about it. Just get on and live your life. Now, it's pretty fucking harsh to say to a fucking 7-year-old or something, but the thing is, I think there is some logic to it, and that is that
I do too. I actually think you should be telling kids that from the time they're young. I do. I think you should tell them that. Not that you shouldn't try to change things, but you really can only control yourself and what you do.
Yes. Apart from, I do believe there is a classic. I hate to say, sometimes where there's a really bad fucking movie that comes out with a really great movie scene. Can you think of situations like that? I'll give you two. Okay, I'll give you two. One is Alien versus Predator. Alien versus Predator 2. Alien versus Predator 2. Yeah. This is just how bad we've actually got. The sequel to Alien versus Predator, when the father stands by the bedroom window of the child and says, there's no such thing as monsters, as he is ripped through the window by a fucking monster. It is, I still think it's a classic. That was clever.
Irony.
I have to admit, that it was clever. I also am still quite moved, believe it or not, by Rambo 2. I don't even know.
Oh, no.
There are two things from Rambo 2 which still stick in my mind. And there is the scene where he has the supposed prisoner of war, like this idea that fucking American prisoners of war were kept for 20 years by the Vietnamese. Why they were just kept for some reason, I don't know. Anyway, so, and he rescues one of them, and the guy's on his back, and he's climbing up this mud fucking mountain to get to the helicopter, which is hovering at the top, and he's using his AKM is a rifle, literally as a fucking ice axe, to climb through the mud. He's using the rifle as an ice axe. And if a movie wasn't so fucking pathetic, it's quite moving. Like, it's actually quite fucking emotional, somebody doing that. But the other one is, there's a classic line in it when John Rambo, how does John Rambo speak? Here we go. You ready? I'll do my impersonation of John Rambo. Are you ready?
Oh, do it.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah, do it.
No, you ready? Remember?
You're not over the top at all there with
No,
that.
I think that's pretty accurate, isn't it? To Sylvester Stallone, that's pretty much how he speaks.
Is it though? Because I feel like I can understand the words
Oh,
he's
if
saying
you heard a
though,
word
even if
there,
it's
then, yeah,
hard.
that's a
And
problem.
you literally were not giving me anything there.
But there is this thing when he meets up with his Vietnamese fucking contact. I love this, the Vietnamese resistance. This was in fucking Magnum PI, the original Magnum PI. I still remember in the first season there is the Vietnamese fucking resistance. I couldn't. Oh my god. Anyway, I suppose people believed this shit at the time, but you know. Anyway, so Rambo meets up with the operative of the Vietnamese resistance. Jesus Christ. I can't believe I'm even saying it, right? Anyway, the Vietnamese resistance. Jesus Christ. It just blows my mind. Anyway, he meets up with her and she says, "Why are you here? This is not your war," or something or other, you know, the typical bad line. But then he says something which I did like, even though it was written badly, but I liked the concept. And he said, "I'm expendable." And she says, "What does expendable mean?" And Rambo says, "It's kind of like if you're invited to a party, but nobody cares if you show up." And even though the writing is appalling, don't get me wrong, it's fucking terrible. But I love that line. I really love that fucking line. I really like it.
There's nothing wrong with that line.
Do you know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with that line at all. It's actually a great line, yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
Anyway, but what we were... Oh, no, go on.
No.
Sorry.
No,
I've been talking too much.
I didn't really have
You
anything
talk.
to say.
Oh.
What are you talking about?
Sorry.
You say that all the time, and then I go back and I think about the fact that I've just been rambling for hours.
No. We were going to talk about some of the worst dates in history. And I was going to tell you a story about two of mine, which probably was some of the... So, would you like to hear about number one? I think one of the worst
think, of course, I
dates in
would.
history. Okay, all right. So this is after my I'd separated from my my wife at the time when I was quite young, and we had a daughter. But anyway, we'd separated, and I started dating again. So this is before I met Amanda, who was my partner before she passed away. And anyway, I was dating. All right. So this is before I met Amanda.
That's hard anyway.
Right, well, this is before. So this is before I met Amanda. Right? And anyway, so I went out on this date. Okay, and this is no joke. This is what happened. So I went to a house, and I couldn't open the gate. Fumbled around with the freaking gate, couldn't open the damn thing, and literally had to jump over the top of it because I couldn't fucking open the damn thing in the dark.
It was a test.
So literally had to climb over the... Now, when I'm saying this, it's only like a metre tall. This is not like 2 metres tall or something, right? So I literally had to jump over the top of it. So anyway, so I go in. I knock on the door. There she is. Comes out. All right, that's all. We leave. I cannot open the gate to get out of the property. In the end, she had to open the gate. We get in the car. We go off to the restaurant. We go to the restaurant. I didn't notice the door was glass. I walked face plant into the glass door. Okay. All right. As we're there, we get in. As we do get in, I trip over the step after the glass door and land flat on my face in the vestibule to the restaurant. Okay. So I pick myself up. We go there. We're sitting down. We're having dinner. I'm talking. Very vocal. Lots of hands. Very Trumpian in the way I talk. And my hands, I knocked over a full glass of red wine all over the red tablecloth. 2 waiters had to come, pull everything apart, wipe down the table, new tablecloth, put all the food back. It was a United Nations peacekeeping operation to get the table back together again. So after we do all of that, after the date is over, so we had dinner. after all of that, we then leave. I re-trip over the same step, leaving the fucking
Holy
restaurant
shit,
and fall this
dude.
time into the glass door, which I'd walked into coming in.
I'm surprised that woman didn't marry you the next day.
And then after we leave, I'm so bloody disoriented about what's happened. Walk 100 metres in the wrong direction up the road to find the car. Can't find the car. And realise we've walked up the wrong street. I never got a call back from that date.
I was going to say, holy shit. Warren, are we recording right now?
Yeah, that is a true story. That was a real date I went on. And I
honestly,
I think I wear
I don't remember.
I think I wear that with pride. Just how bad can a date go? You know. So that is it. I've said it to the world. So I still think one of the worst dates ever. If you reckon, anyone listening reckons they've ever gone on a date that was worse than that, please let me know.
I went on a bad date one time my mother had set me up with. And he was really cute. He was an actor. Okay, he was super cute, but I didn't want to go out with this guy, and she totally set the whole date up. So he comes and picks me up, and he's going to take me to a movie that's down the street. So I get in the car with him, and we drive down there, and the movie we thought was playing at the time wasn't playing at the time. And so I just said to him, okay, well, you can take me home if you want. So he did. And that was the end.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, my God.
And he was super cute, but I wasn't into him at all. He wasn't my type. You know, he was like the typical, like, kind of gushy, cute boy that girls on, like on movies and things like that. And he wasn't my kind of vibe. And I'm not saying he wasn't adorable. He was, but whatever. I just,
but probably honestly, but truthfully, end it there. Let him save the $300 he was going to spend, and he can save the money on something else. Oh. Honestly, I reckon that's
$300. We were just going to a movie, costs? Dude.
A date?
It's not dates with me do not cost $300.
Well, first
unless
of all,
we've
dinner.
Been dating a while.
Well, hang on, dinner. First date dinner. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'm still going back a while ago. But if we say, let's say dinner. Well, that's at least going to be $150 minimum for the two of you. At least.
I don't know what Australian dollars are going on, but I don't need to be taken to some super fancy restaurant for a date. I just want food.
I hate to say this. No, two people in McDonald's are still fucking $30. I mean, so...
what do you... I don't know what your Australian dollars are like.
Well, no, it's not. It's not about the relation. It's about the fact that food is expensive in Australia. It's expensive. Very expensive.
Well, I mean, I can imagine that, yeah, because if you don't grow it there, you don't farm it there. It's not.
Oh no, we do. We farm it all. It's all ours. It's all ours.
Oh,
it's
then why is it so fucking expensive?
Because it's all ours.
Why?
Because it's ours. Because we pay people a decent wage. Yeah. In other words, so if the farmer wants to earn a decent salary, the vegetables and the beef and the lamb or the fish is going to be expensive because we're not going to let people live on a $3 an hour wage. They're going to be paid $25, $30 an hour, and that's why food is expensive in Australia.
You know, grocery stores here refuse to pay an extra an extra penny a pound for tomatoes because they didn't want to pay the migrant workers in Florida any more money. Like, literally a penny a pound across the entire fucking board. What the fuck?
No, see,
I would
Australia. Australia
for people
is like
to have a decent goddamn wage.
Well, this is the thing. Australia is like Japan. It subsidizes food, so we grow our own food. We farm our own food, although we still import food. Don't get me wrong. I still buy, like, if I'm going to have I know you hate these, but I love my anchovies. I love my anchovies. I always get my anchovies from Portugal because they're the best. They're the best anchovies from Portugal. So I still import some food. I love basa the fish, which I get from Vietnam. Okay, so
you've been cooking a lot of fish this week. I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have been actually. Probably because I've been in lockdown and I'm concerned that my waist is getting so large now. It's creating its own gravity field.
Oh, it's so hard.
You know.
It's so hard.
Well, the problem is all you do is you sit around and you eat and you drink. I had a Skype...
Especially drink.
Oh, I had a Skype meeting, okay, at the end of the week with my company. I can say this, I don't think there's anything out. And there's a whole heap of people. There's 40-odd people on this big thing which it couldn't cope with and no one could see anybody and it was a big disaster like that. But anyway, it was all fun. It was a great idea. Get everybody together who's currently working from home so we all know that, hey, there is something to come back to. It's a good idea. Just didn't work in practice, but it was a good idea. And hats off to the guys and girls that thought of the idea. But anyway, it was one of the I set up my background as a bar, like an actual bar. Had all the, but you know how you set your backgrounds, when you do meetings, you can change your back. And mine was a bar, had all the bottles of booze behind me and everything like that. And I said, I'm starting early. It's Friday night. I'm starting early. It's like, I'm in the bar already, guys. I'm pouring the martinis as we speak. And one of my directors lists a glass of scotch. This is during the business day, right? He says, I'm already on my third. And he goes, Warren, well, show me your drink. Where's your drink? And it's like, what? Well, we're still in business hours. I won't say his name. I said, we're still in business hours. He goes, what does that matter? And I said, well, the boss is watching. He goes, the boss? And he said, I'm a director here. I'm not the boss technically. Because the manager, like the sales manager, and I can see all of their eyes.
I'm also drinking.
Right? And it's a little bit like, all you had to do was just have your martini and not tell anybody, Warren. And then I've got one of my directors there sort of like...
He tried to make you tell people.
And here's my director literally with a bottle of scotch and a straw in it. Oh, dear.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's funny stories.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to lie. I actually went in 11th...
Anyway.
Yeah, that's because it's your current job. In 11th grade, I once went to school with a wine cooler in a takeout cup. Just in I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I've never drank anything. That was ridiculous. I was very, very innocent. I'm still very innocent. That's all I'm going to say. Don't you laugh at me. What's wrong with you?
You made me think about some of the stupid things we did when I was a kid. Sorry, that's all.
I also, at some point, I think it was the same year, I don't know what the hell was going on with me. I took a bunch of those caffeine pills, like No-Dose.
No-Dose. Yeah, I remember No-Dose, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember them, yeah.
I was so tired. I had been up really late the night before because I'm not going to discuss that. Anyway, I was up very late the night before, and I was tired, so I took 4 of them before school started. We had our first period started for classes at 7:15 a.m., our first bell. 7:15 a.m. Who does that to teenagers? What's wrong with you people? So I was exhausted. So by second period, I had taken 4 No-Dose, and I was still tired. And so I took 2 more, and I ended up sitting underneath a table in second period for like the entire class. I sat under a table because all of them finally hit me, and I was this jittery fucking mess. And the same year I thought I was really doing something then, put a Bartles and James wine cooler in a to-go container, like a takeout cup, like styrofoam or something you get from like Wendy's or something, and took it to school with me. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I thought I was pretty cool that day.
I,
The day
I,
I took all the NoDoz, I thought I was going to die.
my parents,
I was,
my parents used to buy me NoDoz. They would buy it for me.
what?
That's no joke. When I was a teenager, they would buy me NoDoz to get homework done, so you could stay up past midnight. They would buy me NoDoz. I remember.
Oh, shit. No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
No,
remember
I
that.
had to be, Warren, I had to be in bed at 10 p.m. my senior year of high school, okay? The last year of high school. In bed with the lights out at 10 p.m. my senior year. Now, we didn't have cell phones or anything back then because I'm old as fuck. But what I did do was lay in bed at night and talk to my boyfriend on the phone, which was a bad idea because he was always a jerk and made me cry. And then I was up all night whispering and crying. And then they wondered why my parents hated them. So that was fun. But yeah, I mean, that time period, I had to be in bed technically. 10 p.m., lights out. There were no NoDoz. It was get the fuck up in the morning and go to school and do your work. And yeah, no, I was a good girl
I can
for
still
the
remember
most part, but that stuff was like the worst I did.
I can still remember. I think I would have been about 15. Yeah, 15. And I had to have a assignment in the next day. And to be honest with you, if I had have really been organised, I could have had it done because I probably had 2 weeks to do it. But it had to be in the next day.
Yeah, I didn't do
so
shit.
My intention was then to do what half the school kids in the world do, was to do it the night before.
Right. Yeah.
Only to be reminded by my parents that we're going to the opera tonight to see Tosca. Oh, fuck.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So by the time I get home to start my project, it's fucking 11 o'clock at night. So I still remember my mother saying, "Here's a packet of NoDoz, go for it."
No, that's fucking amazing.
That's my parents said, "Well, we booked tickets for the fucking opera. I'm sorry, we're going." Don't have any choice in the matter.
My parents would have definitely taken me to the opera and done the same thing, but also no NoDoz.
Well, I actually said to them, "Well, can I just not go?" And I think it's probably the Yorkshire in my father was like, "We bought the fucking tickets, son. You're fucking going." So we're not wasting any money, son. So I still do not understand why my mother was able to drag my father across to the opera, because my father hates the opera. Hates it. My mother adores it. She loves opera, but my father hates it. My father loves classical music, loves jazz, especially trad jazz. Big fan of trad jazz, but hates the opera. I don't know. Who knows? They were younger then. They were probably doing deals.
You either love opera or you hate it. Like, there's no in between with opera. You either love it or you hate it.
Yes.
And you can't help either one.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, it's like people say, "Oh, I hate opera," But then they listen to what's often referred to. It's not actually called this. Ride of the Valkyrie, right? And they'll say, "Oh yeah, da 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 da." Oh, I love that piece of music. That's a fucking opera. That's a fucking opera.
Yeah, it is.
So so people are a bit funny when they sort of say, "Oh, I don't like opera," Yeah. But anyway, here's another story.
They don't know good opera.
It's this. Yeah, it is amazing. It's also an industry at the moment, which in Australia anyway, since the end of February, is dead, just gone. It doesn't exist.
Oh, we don't have any theater or anything here.
No, it's all gone.
So yeah.
I thought you were still doing that stuff in America because you didn't believe COVID was a real disease and it was all okay.
No, no, Broadway completely shut down months and months ago. Yeah, they're not doing anything until next year for sure.
Right.
They said
Okay.
there's no way they're coming back. What they're doing now is that they're trying to figure out a way because people need their mindless fucking distractions about things that don't matter. They're trying to find a way to do sports. Um, I like to, we've maybe talked about this, I don't know. I enjoy going to sports games at the venue. I think it's exciting to go watch football or basketball or things like that at the actual stadiums, but I'm not going to watch it on TV. I don't give
Yep.
a shit about the channels where people are talking about other people playing sports. I don't want to hear people yell. There's a guy that's an announcer on ESPN here, and I swear to God, if I hear his fucking voice, it's just as obnoxious and annoying to me as hearing Donald Trump's voice. And because he's just angry. He's angry all the time and he's yelling, and the only thing he's ever yelling about is sports. Why are you so fucking angry about people who are being paid millions of dollars to throw a ball to each other? Like, I don't fucking get that. We're not paying our teachers. We're not paying our first responders. We're not paying the nurses and things like that the way we need to actually take care of our society. We don't have money for this and that and the other things, including like health care and shit like that, they say. But we've got shit tons of money in our economy to spend not only on people throwing a ball to each other, but also the people who talk about people throwing a ball to each other.
Yeah, I know.
And what kills me is that, okay, I have a son. He's 21. He is not a sports person, thank fucking God. I will say that, yes, he enjoyed going to arena football when we had it here in Orlando, when we would take him, because we get tickets to go to a lot of sporting events here based on my husband's job, and they're perks, okay? And I don't mind going to the games because, like I said, I enjoy the actual atmosphere and going to the games. We can't do it right now. There's been times many times we've gotten to go into the skyboxes and things like that. That's not so much about watching the game as it is about the atmosphere of being in the fucking skybox and all the free vodka. But we like to go.
Ooh.
But woo, yeah, it's very
I
fancy.
do like being
But
in a sports box. It's very good. I've been in a number of them. It's good.
it
It's fucking
is
good.
like if I'm gonna go, yeah, if I'm gonna go see basketball, which I don't want to watch on TV, but if I'm gonna get to go to see it, I either want one of two things. I want to be within the first 6 rows to the floor, or the fucking skybox. If I'm anywhere else, call me an elitist or whatever the fuck you want. I don't want to be there. Okay, because I don't want to be. No, it's bullshit.
No, I
don't wanna
agree with.
sit
No,
up
I
in
agree with you.
nosebleed section
I agree with you.
with
Do
the
you know,
fucking rabble
do you know
and
the only?
watch them and listen to them yell and carry on.
Do you know the only
What?
time I've ever been to the football, and I've been to the football a lot, but the only time I have
Wait,
ever
soccer,
gone.
American
Oh no,
football or soccer?
Australian football.
Oh, Australian, so rugby.
No, not rugby. Not rugby. No, Australian rules
I'm
football.
teasing.
AFL.
Oh, good Lord, I didn't know I was going to give you an aneurysm. Holy shit.
Or what is called footy. Often. Because it's Australian, so we just call it footy. No. Look, I'm not a huge fan. I'll be honest with you. I follow the Saints, of course. What other team would I follow other than the Saints? Anyway, the St Kilda Saints, just for anyone who wants to know. However, I don't really follow it. I don't watch the matches. I'm not a big football fan. I'm really not. But I have gone to a lot of football matches, but I've always gone to watch them in the box. And you know, where basically where you drive into the into the sports ground in the underground parking, you walk to the lift, you go up through the lift, you're met by the concierge who takes you to the box where there's a meal and drinks. You know, and I was very, very lucky that my grandfather, who was not a unwealthy man, paid for all of this. So as a child and a teenager, I grew up with it. And even into my later years, I have been lucky enough to experience it a few times since then as well. So that's my whole experience. I've never actually gone to a sporting match and stood in the crowd. I've never done it. I've just never done it.
God, I have.
In fact, when I used to go to the football, I still remember one of the rules was you had to wear a tie. You weren't allowed in unless you wore a tie. And
that used to be Disney World. They wouldn't let my dad in.
Well, you know, as an 8-year-old, I'm going there and I'm wearing a tie, you know. And then even into 16 and 17, and I'm still going. And, you know, and now I'm kind of in the suit because I'm a bit older and feeling a bit cooler, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, it's
well, I'm going to say there's been a few times that I've been to sporting events here. Still getting tickets is a perk from something. But the most recent one, let me tell you something. I was taken to an actual American football game in Tampa Bay here, the Buccaneers. I don't know. They're not a great team or anything, but I was excited to go. I'd never been to an actual NFL football game, the National Football League, which is our big league here. Never been to one. Got there and realized that we were literally in a section where a satellite could have hit me in my face. Okay? We were up so high. These tickets were like, I don't know if they got them as some kind of a trade out or whatever, but it was not what I was expecting, because it's not usually what we get from these tickets that we get through Tim's work. And so it was like, we got up there, and I had to walk all the way back to the car because they didn't tell me that my purse had to be see-through if I wanted to come in. It had to be clear. So after walking 4 or 5 blocks from the parking area that he had gotten us some tickets into in park, we had to walk back to the car and leave my purse there if I didn't want to throw it in the trash, because, you know, they're worried about terrorists here. So we get up there and we come back all the way back, and we find our seats, and we keep climbing and climbing and climbing. And let me tell you something. I like to say that I'm afraid of falling. Okay? I'm afraid of falling is what I like to tell people, because literally it's the feeling of falling that bothers me. It's that stomach kind of thing goes up into your chest and your throat when you drop. No, I'm really afraid of heights, I guess. I think honestly it's probably that I'm pretty much fucking afraid of heights. And we were 4 rows from the top of this stadium. Okay, on benches. The steps were so steep. I don't even know how to describe it. I literally felt like satellites and birds were going to hit me in the face as they were going by, and the sun was baking on us. And we probably stayed for half the game. And I just looked over. I was like, I can't sit here anymore. Dude, I had a bucket, and I'm not joking when I say this. I had a literal bucket of alcohol and could not maintain myself. We had frat guys up like a row or 2 behind us that were hooting and hollering and peed on like one of the benches. I was like, I can't be here. It's just too much for me.
Well, if you want to talk about a terrifying height experience, I can still remember because of my job right in engineering. I can still remember this many years ago. In fact, was my daughter. Yeah, my daughter would have been about 1 year old. This is a long time ago, okay? So, and anyway, they were reworking and building a certain sewerage park on the outskirts of Melbourne. And anyone who lives in Melbourne will know what it's called. I don't bother about it. But in it is this. I still remember there was this huge friggin' tunnel that digs down into the earth, and it goes down. It's like 400 meters down, right? It is incredibly deep, right? This huge, and the width is about half a soccer field, right? So this huge bloody tunnel that just goes straight down into the earth. And anyway, there's all these walkways that go around it, and we had to measure all the walkways to, or the frames of the walkways to put the grates in. And they temporary fucking wooden platforms and grates on this thing with temporary handrails, just a single handrail about a bit over a metre high, while you're looking down 400 metres off this thing that moves as you walk along it. There's no harnesses, right? This was the early 90s. Health and safety hadn't really quite kicked in yet. Early 90s, early mid 90s, and I can still remember being so terrified as we were trying to measure this thing. My hands were literally fucking shaking as we were measuring this thing, trying to write down the requirements. And I can still remember I was there with one other guy, and we jammed the tape measure, like the end of the tape measure, under one of the grids. And the only way to unhook it was to lean over to unhook it from the underside. And the two of us looked at each other and said, fuck it. And we took out a pocket knife and we cut the fucking thing in half. We said, fuck it.
Problem solving.
We just cut the thing in half. We just looked at it. We could not believe engineering was done like that back in those days. Now you'd all be on harnesses and
I felt like I needed a harness up in those bleachers on that football game. I was like, I don't believe people actually sit way up here like this. Yeah. It was so fucking steep and tiny, and then it was bad. I don't understand the engineering concept behind that kind of architecture.
It's actually quite safe, but I mean, it can throw you out. I mean, I'm still terrified by heights. I've always been terrified by heights. I would have been terrible in something. I didn't
think it was me, but it was.
I would have been terrible as a young man in the Navy or something like that, where they have to climb up these masts and, it would have been terrible. Never would have been able to do it. But what I have noticed is that the older I've got, the worse my fears got. So, for instance, when I was a kid,
me too.
I could do stuff up high, no problems at all. As a teenager, freaked me a bit, but still no problems. In my early 20s, as I described, as I described that job that I did, I didn't like it. It freaked me out, but I was still able to suck it up and do it. Today, right now, I couldn't do that. I would literally fucking shiver in fear to do that now. The older I've got, the more scared I've actually got. To the extent that I can actually stand under a bridge, look up at the top of the bridge, and suddenly I get scared because I've imagined myself at that height. So I'm not on the fucking bridge. I'm actually imagining it from being underneath it. My fear of heights, the older I've got, has got bad. I'm quite convinced if I die at fucking 80 years old or something, I will be scared to walk up the stairs of my front house. It will get so bad.
Oh. I understand the growing fears, though. When I was a kid, when we lived in Marco Island, Florida, which is on the Gulf Coast here in Florida, just like pretty far south, 90 miles directly west of Miami. It was a tiny island. We lived in a place where there were beaches like all around us. And at the same time, and I'm showing my age here, even though I've said it a million times, the movie Splash with Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks. Do you remember that movie?
Yes, I do.
Came out, and it was about the mermaid, and John Candy was in it, who I adored. Tom Hanks, of course, how could you not love him? Daryl Hannah at the time, sure. Yeah, but and Daryl Hannah, she lives in a teepee. But
right.
I think that's crazy. But at the time, see, here's the thing, like, at the time, I really wanted to be a marine biologist. Like, it was, I was in middle school, I think, and I don't remember for sure if I was in middle school or a freshman in high school. I think I was probably in seventh or eighth grade when this movie came out. I don't remember for sure. What it did for me was make me inspired. Okay, I loved mermaids anyway. My mother used to joke around. She'd buy me things like the World Weekly News. I don't know if you guys had that there, but it was like a crazy fucking tabloid magazine that you'd get at the checkout counter. And one of the covers of it one day said, "Diver attacked by mermaids." And my mom brought it home for me. And I was mad because they described the mermaids as being ugly and not beautiful. And so I was really mad. But in this movie, I was so inspired by like the concept of this film with this mermaid that I actually literally, and this is what kind of got me started in fabricating things for films and different things. And I know I haven't been hired to do that yet, but I created a lot of stuff for my own project for Legion of Rue. I love to do hands-on creation of props and different things that I can fabricate for the project. The thing I made was one of the first things I had ever made was an actual workable, wearable mermaid tail that my sister and I could wear in the pool. And I had cut it out from fabric that I had folded over, and I had put, like when one of us was on the ground, like from our hips down, I traced around it, and I put swim fins at the bottom of it. So we'd put our feet in the swim fins, and then we'd use that to trace around. And then I would cut it out and sew it together and put a zipper. I put a zipper in the side, and we would use it to go swimming in the pool. And then we thought, okay, we're going to take it. And it was great. And it worked. So I thought, okay, we're going to take it to the beach. We go like every few days to the beach. So let's take it. So we took it, and we took the swim fins out, and we rolled up the actual fabric tail and put it down in the swim fin so nobody could see and what it was. And we went into the water, and my sister, because she was smaller, it was built for her because I had built it for her. She took the swim fins into the water with her that had the tail in it. She took the tail out and put the swim fins down in it while in the water and put it on, and then went out just a little bit in front of these old ladies on the beach and flipped her tail up in the air and smacked it down. And I'm on the beach watching her do this because it was like a little experiment for us, you know. Yeah. And this little old lady smacked the other little old lady and goes, "Did you see that?" She was like, "What?" She's like, I swear I think I just saw a mermaid." And to me, as this kid who had created this thing while my sister was out there, and we had talked like a long time about how to use it and how to, because we've been in the pool forever with it, you know. I was so proud that these old ladies were freaked the fuck out. But that was something that made me want to do more in film and TV, to create things like that. I think being inspired by different projects. I don't remember why I was saying this, Warren. There was a reason I was telling you this story. No, it does matter to me, because now I'm like, why the fuck was I talking about this?
I don't worry, I do that all the time.
But the concept of, we actually created, I created at that age a working mermaid tail because I was inspired by a movie like Splash. And there was a reason I was talking about that, but I seriously don't remember. I finished nearly this entire bottle of Riesling. Well, and I speak of my backup bottle.
It's okay. Well, what I was going to suggest is, I thought we might take a quick break, because I'm going to make myself a final martini, and then I thought we might finish the show off, if that's all right.
Okay, that's probably a good idea, because I have no idea what I'm talking about now.
But I was just going to make a quick martini, just to finish the show off.
Is it another espresso martini?
Yeah, I'm going to do an espresso martini. So,
it's very fancy.
Well, you'll be able to hear it. Nobody else will, but you will. Anyway, so...
Well, I'm going to if you're going to make a martini, I'm taking a break for a second, because I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to sit here and listen to make your martini.
No. We're going to take a quick break, which means we'll be back in 3 seconds. Yes, so...
if we were in the same room, I totally would sit and listen to you make your martini. I would.
It's pretty boring. all you got to do is put the shot. Don't worry. Anyway, we'll be right back.
You tell me when we get back.
No, we'll be right back. What?
I said, you tell me when we get back how to make it.
Okay, sorry. Okay, all right. We'll be right back. And then I'll say when... Anyway, we'll be back. And we are back. At least I hope we're back. I thought we were back. We had
a long conversation and y'all missed it.
Fucking half an hour of podcast that didn't go to air, I think, because I don't even know at this stage whether I recorded it or not. Anyway, obviously the Saint is
don't
a shithead.
Tell me if you did. I don't want to know.
No, I didn't. No, don't. No, nothing about that, so don't worry about that. Oh, dear. It's just like... I need a fucking producer. Anyway, all right, so...
Don't say that.
I'm just not fucking good enough at this. Anyway. All right, so I've been doing this for years, and I'm still shit at it, Irish. I'm still shit at it.
No, you're not, Warren. The problem is that I make you drink during this.
I'm an engineer. I am not a fucking podcast person.
You're a drunk engiiner. Okay?
Well, I'm just a drunkard. I'm just a fucking drunkard. That's it. I'm just drunk. Just love fucking getting drunk.
Well, you're also an engineer, so what I said was
it's
apt.
the same thing.
Anyway.
I know.
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, I'm a drunk producer. That's what I'm
doing.
There
we go. Drunk producer and a drunk engineer. Hey, we can build the fucking world. I'll build it, you'll film it.
Oh, my God.
All right.
Warren, wait. And I can't tell you what they are, but I heard some really juicy celebrity stories this week.
Oh, fuck.
I'm gonna tell you some stuff off air.
All right. Well, we need to. Okay. Air. We need to get off air then because I want to hear this goss. All right. Now, just remember as we go, guys, that of course history was rewritten last week. So for all of you guys who. And girls, when I say guys, I actually mean, when you say guys, it means guys and girls. I'm sorry, I'm old-fashioned, I'm old, all right?
And when he says girls, he means women.
Yes, and when I say girls, I do mean women. Yes, sorry. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've still got a fucking Quartz Tag Heuer. That's how fucking old I am, all right? Okay? So, yes. I still got a fucking Formula 1 Tag Heuer Quartz.
I might die.
Anyway, watch people will get that joke. Anyway, but history was rewritten. Now, apparently, the Second World War we found out the week before last, did not end with the Soviet Union capturing Berlin and the United States dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That was not how it ended. So for all you kids doing your history projects out there, for your final years of history at school, you have to remember the World War II ended because all the soldiers got too sick from the 1917 Spanish flu pandemic. All right? So just remember, history has been rewritten. The United States president has said so. Therefore, it is law. All right? So just remember that the World War II ended because the Spanish pandemic, which wasn't Spanish anyway, it was fucking American, but we won't go into that, of 1917, which it was actually 1918, but we won't go into that. Anyway, apparently it ended the Second World War in 1945. And the reason why the war ended in 1945 was because all the soldiers were too sick to fight. So, when you tell your history teacher, when they talk about the Soviet Battle of Berlin, you can say, no, fuck you, Miss History Teacher. It was because the soldiers all had Spanish flu. Okay? So, just to let you know, history has been retold. We all know because the genius, the stable genius, which is the President of the United States, has told us that the Second World War ended because of the
Warren,
Spanish influenza
Warren,
flu.
this isn't funny at all. I want you to know that none of this would have happened
Yes.
if during the Revolutionary War the British hadn't taken over the airports.
Yes. Oh my fucking
Okay.
God, I've forgotten about that. Yes. I've fucking forgotten about that. Yes, in the Revolutionary War, the airports were captured by the fucking British government. Oh my God. When did the Revolutionary War start? 1776, is that right?
I think it was 74 or 75.
Whatever
76
fucking was.
is when we signed the Declaration of Independence. I don't fucking know,
I
dude.
thought that was
I'm an American
1780
public school.
Anyway. Okay, whatever the fuck it was, the American War of Independence, all right, was won because the British forces captured all the airports. So just remember, back in the days of horse and carts and wood-fired stoves, it was all right because the British had captured the airports. Not that there were any fucking aeroplanes to fly yet, but it's all right. The British had captured the fucking airports. Oh my God. Oh fuck, I'd forgotten about that. Oh,
You're
Jesus.
welcome.
Okay. Well, mind you, Australia had a prime minister a few years ago, right? Okay. It wasn't that long ago. It was about 6 years ago, who actually made the comment about the Japanese didn't really do anything too bad during the Second World War. It's like, what the fuck? Thousands of Australians died of torture and fucking... Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I could not believe it. Yeah, I know. So, hey, look. In saying that, yeah, thank you, Tony Abbott. You were an asshole. But anyway,
I'm dizzy from laughing, and also Riesling.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, guys. Just remember when you do. Because you're doing a lot of online learning if you're teenagers listening to this show. Just remember, Second World War ended
Teenagers should not listen to the show.
Okay, so just remember, the Spanish flu, which was actually American influenza, but we call it the Spanish flu because Donald Trump says that's really cool. And there's a reason why we call it the Spanish flu. If you don't know why we call it the Spanish flu, fucking do your history lessons. It was because of... Anyway, I'm not even going to go down the path.
You don't remember.
It's because a certain fucking American president was all fucking iffy about America being seen in a bad light, and America wanted to be seen as just saving the fucking world, and so it was called the Spanish flu because Spain was a neutral country and no one was going to say anything. Yes, that's all it was about.
Okay.
Because if they called it the
you should have
Spanish
just said that
flu,
then.
And even though
Like
it
calling
started...
it the China virus.
Exactly. Well, it's not quite right because that actually kind of did start in China. But yes, I get the concept. The difference was that if Trump wants to really play it straight, then he has to refrain all of his talks about the 1917, which, Donald, it wasn't 1917, it was fucking 1918, because I don't know what fucking school you went to. It was 1918.
And that was the First World War, you dumbass.
It's just, it blows my mind. And if you insist on calling it the Chinese virus, well, then we have to rename the Spanish flu the American virus, because that was done for political fucking thing. Don't get me started.
I say we just call it the Trump virus and we move on.
Oh, the Trump virus. I like that.
Yeah, it's the Trump virus. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're almost out of time.
I've ranted
already
enough.
You didn't
enough.
remember to record us the last time.
And I actually talked about what a martini was made of. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, next time you have to have that again. And also, we talked about Kingsman, which everybody knows I love.
We talked about Kingsman.
So
yeah, I know. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so anything we want to say before we end the show?
Fuck Trump.
Yeah, I'll end on that. Fuck Trump.
And save the United States Post Office.
Yeah, that's maybe we should talk about that a bit more seriously actually next week. That's because this sounds like it's a really serious issue which is not being taken
really
seriously enough.
Serious issue. It is.
Yeah,
Well, if it's still around next week, we'll discuss it.
Yes.
So
well, you never know. You may not be a dictatorship. Oh, I've seen some numbers coming out of even MSNBC, which is pretty fucking pro.
I don't know what you guys have. I don't know what you
guys
have.
And do you know what? I still reckon your election's going to be a fucking close run thing, or it's going to be down to the wire. I really do.
Well, it is because they're going to do everything they can to fuck us over, just like they did last time.
Yeah, it's not going to be a blue tsunami like some people are saying. I really do believe this is going to be a down.
You know what?
Yeah,
he lost by 3 million votes last time in regards to the popular vote. It doesn't matter. If they fuck us over, they fuck us over, and we're going to have to do something about it. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, that's a question about how Americans deal with their own nation. But yes. But anyway, that's a subject for
I just refreshed my bug
podcast.
out bag last night, so we'll talk about that later.
Well, come to Australia, as Jeremy Clarkson.
I'm thinking about Hawaii. That's halfway
yes,
there.
I know. As Jeremy Clarkson in an episode of the old Top Gear once said to an American in the audience, "Are there any Americans in the audience?" And a woman yelled out, "Woohoo!" And he looked over and he goes, welcome to the free West. You'll like it here. I reckon that sums it up.
I move in that direction at this point because NJ has no passport and I can't get him one. So, at this point, so...
All right, then.
Okay.
All right. We'll call it quits for tonight, and we'll be back next week with some more cocktails and conversations. And we'll just be back next week. I'm just rambling now, so it doesn't matter. All right, cheers, guys.
Cheers.